A tantrum is not bad behavior. A tantrum is when they've lost it. It's all anger-based.
I want to avoid tantrums and whining, hence we let her get her way and I end up doing everything for her.
Never do that. And that's them processing your leadership. If you're afraid of your toddler, they're in charge. Behind every fit, scene, meltdown, and tantrum is a lesson. All this discipline and ignoring tantrums would be cruel if you weren't close to them, if you didn't play with them a lot. If you're ignoring them all the time and then you also ignore them during tantrums, where's the lesson, right? Welcome to the Bratbusters Parenting Podcast. My name's Lisa Bunnage. I'm a parenting coach. I'm a mom. I'm also a grandmother.
And I'm Amy Bunnage, Lisa's daughter, and I handle the marketing and planning here at Bratbusters. While I don't have kids, each episode will dive into parenting topics and Lisa will answer your questions. Let's get started.
Okay, sweetie, what is on the agenda for today?
So today's topic is what to do when tantrums take over.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a good one to talk about, though.
Why the ugh?
Well, I guess because you said when tantrums take over. That's only because you let them. But I don't know why I said ugh. It's a good topic. It is.
You know what? I think it's just a knee-jerk reaction now. I think you say that to like every podcast topic we've done.
Why do I do that? I guess because I think I'm not going to have much to say. I think that's what it is. And because I always worry about giving good content and giving things to do. You know, I want them to come out of it learning something. So I think, well, haven't I already said everything that I've said that they need to hear about tantrums? I think that's it. But no, there's always something new that comes up.
There is. And you should also, I think that a lot of people haven't listened to the 40 whatever episodes.
That's true. I guess I just get self-conscious about being repetitive.
No, she doesn't. She never does. Okay, so what we're going to do is
That's true. I never do.
We're going to start by playing.
I never do. Sorry, go on.
We're going to start by playing a video from yours from Instagram. So if you want to start that, okay. And this will go over how you approach tantrums.
Yes. Okay, let's go. Here's the swing story. This is a true story. My son was 2 years old and he had tantrums. They're either born to have tantrums or they're not. My daughter never had them. I never had one, but my son had them. Okay, they're born. It's in your DNA. Anyway, so I go to the park and there was a brand new mom there. She was new in the neighborhood and all the gossip around the neighborhood was, oh, we got someone new. We're all excited, right? Because another new mom with a little toddler, because we were all like about the same age. It was a new district. Anyway, so we're all excited to meet her. And I was the first one to meet her. She was down at the park with her little boy, 2-year-old boy. And I had a 2-year-old boy. So we are introducing ourselves. You can tell we're both really excited to meet each other. So we're chatting away and we're putting our little boys on the swings. There's 2 swings, 2 toddlers. So, and they both go at the same time. Now we're just trying to chat. We're not really paying any attention to our sons. They both point to the other one's swing. So we say, well, let's just change it. Who cares? We're just trying to chat, right? We go to move them over and they both start tantruming right away. So here's what she does. She goes over to the one bench and I go over to the other one. She goes over there. The whole time she's talking to her little boy. Well, you know, if you did the right thing, if you just waited, mommy would have put. So she's doing the mini therapy sessions. She's doing the best she knows how. She's trying her best to try and manage this tantrum, try and talk him off the cliff, try and discuss all his emotions, all his feelings. He's getting worse and worse and worse. The tantrum lasted 20 minutes. After that, this was her opportunity. I always say that you ignore the tantrum, then you ignore the crazy, which is the tantrum, then you reward the calm after the tantrum. So he's finished his tantrum and he's got the hiccup cries and he's going, and then okay, so here's what she did. She didn't know. She was doing her best. I felt bad for her. So anyway, then she discusses the whole 20-minute tantrum. She goes into it, great detail. He's 2. And she's doing the therapy session. She's discussing it all. He was miserable. Anyway, we ended up leaving before I saw them get back on the swing. But 30 minutes prior, when they both started the tantrums, here's what I did. I took my son over to the bench, and he was screaming and kicking like her son was. So my son instantly I put him on the bench. He went to run for the swing. I put my arm out right away. He knew me well enough to know that arm's not going to go away. He's not going to get back to the swing. So he sat back because he knew me by now. So he knew the drill. So he's crying. Now here's what I'm doing. I'm completely ignoring him. I'm looking at the trees, the birds, like I'm just waiting. That's all I'm doing. I'm waiting. And it only lasted about 2 minutes. As soon as he finished having this tantrum, I said, oh, y'all done? Okay, let's go back on the swing. I ignored the crazy and rewarded the calm. He was starting to catch on to this. He knew as soon as that tantrum stopped, he'd probably get back on the swing. So anyway, the tantrum stopped, went back on the swing, and then for the rest of that half hour, I just felt so bad for her. She was doing her best, but she kept feeding it. Any attention is tantrum food. Whenever you're trying to talk them off the cliff, talking about their emotions, talking about anything, even eye contact, any attention is fertilizing that tantrum. So anyway, I felt really bad for her. My son was getting tired of swinging, so we went home, and they were still sitting on the bench. She looked like a rag doll. She was so emotionally distraught by the end of it. But anyway, that's the swing story. So, yeah. Now, the thing is that children are not going to learn this right away. My son was already starting to clue in. He was 2. He was starting to understand that mom is never going to feed a tantrum. He was starting to sort of come out of them. Now, they're not going to really stop having tantrums completely if they're that way inclined till they're about 3 or maybe 3.5. But they're going to diminish in intensity, duration, and frequency. So that's what I was working with. But yeah, they're not just going to stop having tantrums because it's in their DNA. It's just the way they deal with stuff. They can't handle those emotions. So anyway, that's that.
Okay. Do you have any notes?
I wasn't listening. Well, I already know the story. I've told it a million times. Yeah, nothing to say. I think it's very self-explanatory. Do you speed up my voice on those? I'm talking really fast in that video. Do you speed it up?
So I used to a little bit more. That was simply people like you to get to the point in general on social media. So if you're listening to the podcast, you get a little insight. I used to speed up mom to like 1.05, 1.1 to make you talk a little faster.
Oh. And I'm a fast talker anyway, but you're right. People just want, come on, get to the point. I get that.
Yeah, I actually don't do it anymore, but I used to.
Oh, interesting. Oh, you don't do it anymore. Do I talk faster or you just...
I just stopped doing it.
Interesting.
I use a new editing thing and it just isn't as easy to do, so.
Okay, this is boring to our listeners, but it's not to us. We're fascinated by this stuff. Okay, so we're talking about tantrums and how they can take over, and I'm going to teach you how to not let them take over, hopefully. So let's get right into the questions.
Okay, just before we do, what do you consider to be a tantrum?
Well, I don't know. A tantrum is when they've lost it. Now, a tantrum is not bad behavior. A tantrum, a scene, a meltdown, a fit, I kind of group them all together. It's when they've lost their nuts, you know, lost their, am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Okay, because I meant like a squirrel nuts anyway. And the nuts that they eat. Oh, geez, Lisa, shut up. Anyway, just leave it in. You can't correct this stuff. You're going to take that one out, aren't you?
No, I just think you've become so much more self-conscious ever since I noted that parents listen with their kids around.
With their kids. Makes a difference. Whereas normally, you should hear what I let fly in coaching. Anyway, okay, what was I saying? I even forgot what I was saying. I got so flustered trying to recover
what
myself.
You consider a tantrum.
What you consider a tantrum. Okay, fit, scene, meltdown, scene is all the same thing. It just means that they've lost their mind when they don't get their own way. It's all anger-based. You do not need to validate the anger. They need to learn how to get themselves out of that. But you want to be nearby. You want to be there, sort of a support, but you're not engaging with them in any way. Any attention is tantrum food. It feeds it, it fertilizes it, because they're basically doing it so that you'll change your mind. Eventually, they'll learn that when you say no, it's never going to be turned into a yes. And they remember the one time out of 100 that you did change your mind, that they basically see it as a lie and that they can't trust you. So you said no, and then if I scream loud enough for about a half an hour, then you're going to say yes. So they're going to do it longer the next time. You know, you see what I mean? They dig their heels in because you've just trained them that a no doesn't always mean no. You pick your no's carefully though, because you got to be willing to follow through. So it's not so much that when you say no, this is going to sound a little bit weird, but it's not so much that you say no, it's to be careful what you say no about, because you've got to follow through. So don't worry so much about the no's, worry about the follow through. So pick your battles when you're just training your kids on this, like tantrums and that. Just focus on tantrums for now and nothing else. Because if you try and deal with everything, you're just going to self-destruct. But if you decide you want to sort of now, when I say focus on tantrums, they're going to continue to have them for a while. But you focus on how you handle a tantrum, not them. And they will diminish in intensity, frequency, and duration over a period of time. Okay, but for now, they're going to keep having them for a while. They don't really outgrow them till they're about 3.5. That's when they have the ability to stop and think before they act. That's that sense of reasoning. They don't have that when they're 2. It's not developed yet.
And then one last thing is, do you handle tantrums about wants versus needs differently? Very
different. A tantrum over a need is not, I give them whatever they need. So if they're really hungry and they have a tantrum, I feed them. If they're really sick and they need a cuddle because they're not feeling very well and they have a tantrum, I cuddle them. You see what I mean? Needs are different. This is over the wants. Like, no, I want that ice cream before dinner. Stuff like that. So they open up, they get into the fridge and they grab something like chocolate out of the fridge and you're just going to have dinner. That's a hard no. That tantrum is not one that you want to address. Those are the ones that you ignore. It's over the wants. Not that you meet their needs and manage their wants.
Okay, I think we'll get into the first question. So, Mallory from the United States. My first and only son, who's 12 months, is described as advanced by his pediatrician. He's been walking since 9 months, has two solid words and 2 to 3 vague words. He shows deeper understanding in many ways. I've started consistent corrective actions a while ago, but now he's throwing tantrums. They're different from his short baby tantrums. So, for example, I take my shoe away from him and put it away. He screams, rolls, hits, and kicks the floor. All the other babies I know around his age don't do these things. So he's so young. Since he's so young, I want to hold him and distract him, but with his mental accomplishments, should I be ignoring the tantrum? I've tried to do this within reason, but half the time I give in after 3 or so minutes. I feel cruel and judged ignoring his tantrums, but I feel like his mental understanding makes it okay. Is this a normal way to transition from baby tantrums to toddler tantrums? Are there specific milestones to measure when to treat as a toddler versus when to treat as a baby?
You know exactly where I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to try and be more tactful. He may be advanced with some things. He maybe have walked earlier. He is not advanced emotionally. And that is what we're addressing here. I teach parent-child relationships, and it's mostly based on the emotions, on their emotional stability, their self-esteem, their self-worth, their confidence. All that stuff is what we're dealing with. I don't give a hoot if he can solve, like, some mathematical equation. He's still emotionally a baby, okay? So don't treat him, just because he's good at some things and he was walking early doesn't mean he's advanced in every way. My son was labeled gifted, and I remember it happened. They brought a team in to assess him in, I don't know, kinder or preschool anyway. So they brought a team in because I knew he was different, but I never focused on that. Like, I didn't care. I was focused on his emotional needs. Anyway, so they brought this team in, they decided, and they offered him some phenomenal scholarship to this gifted school. Anyway, I said no, of course, because I would never do that to a kid. To talk about putting a target on your kid. Anyway, so then I took him to the mall. He's 3 years old. I took him to the mall. He's just been labeled gifted. And that was the day that I tell the mall tantrum story. It was that day. I'm pretty sure it was that same day. He throws himself on the ground, has a tantrum, and I thought, yeah, you're gifted, all right. Just because he's good at doing puzzles or he can figure out a math equation at 3 doesn't mean he's emotionally gifted. You see what I mean? Deal with the emotions. So yeah, your child just happens to be good at certain things. That's it. And then you said because of his mental accomplishments? Is that what she called it? How did she word that? Did you call it mental accomplishments?
With his mental accomplishments.
He's 12 months. Let it go. Play with him. Play in the mud. Go jump in puddles with him. Okay, if he has a tantrum, ignore it. Don't worry about being judged. He's just a baby. Oh, wait a minute, he's 12 months old. If he has a tantrum, you might want to divert his attention. But don't reward a tantrum, just divert his attention. Oh, what's over there? He's a baby. Play in the puddles with him, roll down the hill with him. Don't do the flashcards trying to turn him into an Einstein. He'll be bored out of his mind. Meet his emotional needs. Okay, I'm done. I'm all done.
Do you see this come up a bit with parents?
Not if they've been watching me for a while and coaching. No, not at all. Because I've talked about this enough. Yeah, not so much in coaching. But what they will do, this is quite funny actually. What they will say is they'll say, "Oh, in the first session, sometimes if they haven't watched me a lot, before they hire me. So in the first session, they'll tell me how gifted their child is, right? Then we'll get to the third session and they'll try and impose a consequence. Okay, so you broke the rule, so here's the consequence. And then they said, we didn't follow through because he didn't understand. I go, whoa, 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 whoa. In session 1, you told me your 5-year-old was gifted and he doesn't understand if he kicks his little brother, which he already knows the behavior board's up there. You've already gone through with them. He doesn't understand that he has to do a chore, which is written up on the board and you've already discussed it. So now he's a moron in session 3. You can't have it both ways. Is this child gifted or is he a moron? Like they use either one to their advantage. Treat them like normal little kids. Don't label them. Okay, that's why I kept my kid mainstreamed. I didn't want to label them. And so yeah, it's not, they're just emotional little beings. Okay, so yeah, a lot of parents do start out with telling me how gifted they are, and then all of a sudden they're complete morons by session 3 because they forgot or they just didn't understand. Oh, they know. They understand.
Would you say from your experience, does it put emphasis on maybe what you would consider the wrong things to
The
put
measurable
emphasis?
stuff. A lot of parents like to brag about their kids being gifted, whereas I always kind of made a joke out of it. Like, it's going to be a target on this poor kid's head. And I worked really hard to keep him mainstreamed, even though the school often wanted to change that. And then by the time he hit high school, they did segregate him. And I didn't think that was fair. But anyway, I fought that. But anyway, yeah, I always put my emphasis on their personality and their emotional health, their emotional well-being. You can't make a smart kid stupid anyway. They're going to be, if they're smart, they're going to be smart. Also, if you accelerate them, I'm against accelerated learning with little ones. They want to, you jump in puddles for as long as that excites them. You want to do play. They learn through play, by the way. Also, if you're doing those flashcards, accelerated learning, what happens when they go to school? How bored are they going to be? If they know the whole alphabet and they can recite, I don't know, the Iliad or something, how bored are they going to be in grade 1? Then those are the kids who often cause trouble because they're bored. You're not doing them any favor. How many years have they got of school, of learning? Also, the reason why a lot of parents emphasize the grades is because it's measurable and brag-worthy. Be careful about bragging about your kids because they may make liars out of you. And I don't think it's a very fair thing to do with other people anyway. Bragging is never pretty. I tend to brag a lot. What do I brag about? I'll brag about something and then about myself, and then I always end up looking like an idiot every single time. I don't know why I do that. It's the weirdest thing. Oh, I know what it was. One I did that was so stupid. It was in a dance school, and I was bragging to another mom. I said, oh, because I sewed all my kids' clothes, and I said, I'm practically a seamstress. The school teacher heard me say that, and how many costumes do you think I made in 8 years of dance? Because I bragged. Every time I brag, something bad happens.
You have to eat crow.
I had to eat, every single time. I don't know why I do it. Every single time. Oh, you should see me do this. I'm so fit, and then I'm the one who falls over and passes out because she can't do it. Anyway, yeah, I never learn. But yeah, be careful what and don't brag about your kids. It's not likable. It's very unlikable, actually. In Australia, I was lucky I raised my kids in Australia because we were all arguing over whose kids were the worst and who's the worst mom. They're very into self-deprecating humor. It relaxes everyone because you said that when you go out, this was the one, same one. You go out, you feel embarrassed, you feel judged when you're trying to ignore a tantrum. Yeah, we didn't worry about stuff like that. We didn't worry about being judged in Australia. I didn't feel that there. I don't remember moms complaining about that, because we were all laughing over what horrible mothers we were. It was self-deprecating. So just relax, enjoy your kid, and go jump in some puddles.
I'm glad you ended it on that note.
What? Jump in puddles?
Well, no, just getting a little intense, heated.
I do.
Okay.
Because this is my passion in life. This isn't just a job to me. I love kids, and I know how much fun parenting can be. I want you to raise nice kids, yeah, but that's a byproduct. My main goal is that you enjoy parenting. I want you to have fun. I want you to enjoy it as much as I did. I got that pesky leadership cemented when they were tiny, and then I just relaxed and enjoyed them right through the teen years. There's always some hiccups along the way, but nothing big once you're a leader. So I want you to enjoy parenting. That's why I get heated. You should see me in coaching. This is nothing.
I know, and I know you just feel passionate about the topic of accelerated learning.
Oh, I am. Because how many kids do you think I've worked with who've been accelerated and they are the ones who are acting out in class? A lot. And then you know what happens? Then the parents want them to skip a grade. Emotionally, they're not there. They're ostracized, and often they'll force the school to, especially in private schools, they'll force the school because they're paying big money, and they might be paying $50,000 a year to keep these kids in these expensive private schools. Then they'll force the school to have them skip a grade because they're so advanced, and that poor kid, they're ostracized. None of the 6-year-olds want to play with a 5-year-old. It's just the way it is because emotionally they're still 5. Often it's even worse because you've been pushing so hard with the academics, you forgot about the emotional health. So I've seen so much of this, like time and time and time again. It's textbook.
Do you think it also, just one last thing, do you think maybe for the kid as well, like if they potentially down the road, if they pick up something at school that they can't get right away, do you find that they find that harder?
They're almost embarrassed because they feel like they have a lot of pressure on them because you've been bragging about them so much and you keep emphasizing their academic achievements that they feel a lot of pressure that they have to be so good at it. Sometimes it's okay to relax a little bit and maybe emphasize sport more and do that, as long as they're passing and doing well, but you can't force a kid to be smart. Can't do it. Their brain is going to work a certain way or it isn't. It's just the efficiency of their brain. The way my son's connections in his brain, I could see it, like he just did things a little bit differently. Didn't make him overall smarter, but it made him smart in certain ways. It's usually compartmentalized. Whenever they call a kid gifted, it's not usually the whole package. It's not like they're extremely mature. They're 12 months old and they go, "Excuse me, mother, I would like a second helping of dinner if that would be appropriate." Like they're not like advanced in every way. So hold them back unless they are, which is very rare. I only knew one kid who was pushed ahead, and for sure and that child was pushed ahead more because the emotional development. The school was very smart with that. They did push that kid. They weren't up to par necessarily academically, but emotionally they were so much further advanced than their age, and they were pushed ahead. I thought that was a smart school. They got it. They'll catch up academically, and they did. This kid did. But yeah, that was very smart.
Okay, we'll get into the next question.
Sure.
So Priya from Germany, my 19-month-old constantly wants me only around her to do stuff like picking her up from bed in the morning, getting her ready for daycare, holding her hand while cooking. She doesn't let my husband get involved when I'm around and dismisses him when he offers to help. I want to avoid tantrums and whining, hence we let her get her way and I end up doing everything for her. My husband is hurt by this behavior. She does play with him and shows affection for the most part, but mostly clingy with me. How do we let her allow my husband to do things for her?
Okay, I'm just going to title a story with this one. You kids were little, and I remember it was usually me giving you a bath because he worked quite late. So you'd be all bath. I wanted him to come home. Everything was done. He could just play with the kids, right? So I usually did all the dinner and the bath and that with them. Anyway, he was home one night and he was giving them a bath. And I heard one of them say, "I want mommy." And I yelled out from the family room, "You're stuck with dad, so deal with it." Never heard another peep out of them. The next time that happened, another night, then he said, "You're stuck with me, so deal with it." And they were fine. Like, in other words, don't let them tell you how the household runs. Don't let them be in charge. I think they're doing it just to be controlling, because this is a 19-month-old. They're starting to catch on to this stuff. No, mine. No, my way. Me, 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 me. They're starting to control, and you don't want that. Yeah. So don't let dad let his feelings get hurt. Just say, "Well, you're stuck with me," and deal with it. They might have a tantrum initially. That's okay. And also, you said you're trying to avoid the tantrums and whining. Never do that. Allow that to happen. That's them processing your leadership. If you're trying to avoid that, they are guaranteed they're in charge. If you're afraid of your toddler, they're in charge. I have no fear of that. Like if my kids had a tantrum, I thought, "Ooh, lesson learned." Like behind every fit, scene, meltdown, and tantrum is a lesson. So I could have cared less if they had a tantrum. They didn't. They were like, "Oops, mom means business and we're stuck with dad." And dad's fine anyway. He was good. He was a good dad.
And from what I've heard you say, it's not out of love specifically. It's
control. It's just control. And that maybe the kid likes the way you have, maybe you put more bubbles in or something. I don't know. But it's usually control. By that age, it's usually control. They're starting to clue into this stuff.
Okay.
Wait a minute, I can just say, "No, mommy," and they'll listen to you. And I snap my fingers and they'll do whatever I say. They're starting to exercise that.
Must be exciting.
It would be, wouldn't it? If you're a little one, you go, "Wow, I can control these two big, huge humans. Wow, I'm powerful." But let them be in charge of play. Like I always say, you play hard with your kids. I teach connection and bonding more than anything. The discipline's a tiny part of what I'm all about. And you can't, all this discipline and ignoring tantrums would be cruel if you weren't close to them, if you didn't play with them a lot. If you're ignoring them all the time, and then you also ignore them during tantrums, where's the lesson, right? So my kids got a very different mom if they had a tantrum. I just got real quiet. Whereas the rest of the time I was loud and, talking to them and having fun with them. So yeah, play hard with your kids. That makes all this tantrum ignoring just fine because you're already meeting their needs. You fill up their love cup. By the way, their love language is fun, not getting their own way. That is not their love language.
Okay. We have Kim from the United States. My 16-month-old hates getting in his high chair and car seat. Not a hunger issue. Once he is in the high chair and calms down, he eats great, but it has become a two-person job to wrestle him into anything where he has to be strapped in. He is strong and will throw a full tantrum, screaming and arching his back. Sometimes you just need to leave the house, and it has turned into such a miserable process.
Was he 16 months old?
Yeah.
Okay. My son had tantrums. He would do that. He would do we used to call it, he arches. Oh, what did I used to call it? Anyway, he'd go like stiff as a board, but even arched, like his stomach would be up in the air, and over the car seat. He did not want to get in that car seat. He went through a stage, probably around that age. And so what I would do is I just stood there ignoring the scene, but I had my hand on his belly. And I wouldn't let him get away from the car seat. I held him over the car seat because they're old enough to control, like physically. So I held him over that car seat. As soon as he took a breath and I felt him weaken, my friends and I used to call it the karate chop. We just fold them in half and click, click, buckle them in fast. Don't talk to them or look at them. There's no point. It just accelerates it usually. You're adding gasoline to the fire if you look at them or talk to them. Just ignore it. You're just calmly waiting, and then fold them in two. You can't fold them while they're being stiff as a board, but once they relax, take a breath or something, then take your opportunity and fold and do the karate chop. It's not a karate chop, but that's what we used to call it. Because lots of kids go through that. They learn pretty quick that when they do that, it's never going to work. And then they'll move on, try something else, and then they just give up because they realize you know what you're doing.
Okay. The next question is Kelly from the United States. I have a 3, almost 4-year-old that has been struggling at preschool. I get notes and messages almost daily about him hitting, punching, pushing another child. My child's teacher is incredible and we have constant communication, but nothing seems to be working. He's an only child and is normally completely fine at home. He will have a tantrum or outburst every now and then, but will not hit or be violent at home. We have a star chart that we tried, so every day he was good and didn't hit someone, he got a star. Once he got 5 stars, he would then get to pick a prize or a toy. This worked for a couple of weeks and he did really well. He has since reverted back to poor choices. My husband and I then start enforcing any time he hits someone at school, his iPad's taken away. I bought an emotions book and we go over each emotion and he's able to identify what they are and what to do when he's feeling mad or frustrated. We talk every morning before school and he tells me, I'm going to be a good boy, I won't hit any of my friends, I'm going to make good choices. I'm at a complete loss on what to do.
Well, get rid of the emotions book. Those are the therapy sessions. They're useless. And you said that the reward chart, I hate reward charts, get rid of them. You said it worked for 2 weeks. Yeah, it's a temporary fix. It's like yelling. It's temporary. It might work in the short term, but the long term, not at all. What you're teaching them with a reward chart is you're normally rotten. If you should happen to be good, you'll get a reward. I don't reward for what I consider normal behavior. I treat good behavior as if it's normal. I normalize the good behavior. You're actually saying you're normally rotten. Oh my God, you imagine if your spouse said to you, if you have a good day, I'll buy you a chocolate bar. Like, what the heck? Like, how would that make you feel? Kids have that same feeling. They may look excited about the reward, but there's still something in them that connects the dots that I'm normally rotten, that I have to be weird to be, like, it's not even like me to be good. So yeah, get rid of that. And then if he's hitting and punching at school, it says to me that you're a pleaser parent at home, which the reward chart tells me also the emotions book. The emotions book is based on therapy sessions. You're discussing all the big feelings and big emotions. Children at that age do not need therapy sessions. Unless they've been through some trauma, I'd have worked with that. It is quite different how we do it. And you watch someone who's really well trained with kids, who lots of people aren't good at it, but who are even have degrees and all that. But the one who uses play is the one who knows what they're doing. Kids are all about play. They're not about reading a book about emotions. You can play and talk about emotions, but even then, what's the point? You just teach him lessons by teaching him, have a behavior board. No hitting is on the board. If he hits at school, he comes home, it's reported to you by the teacher, and then you have a consequence when he gets home. So if you're a pleaser parent, it says to me he doesn't hit at home because he gets his own way. That's what it sounds like to me. Why would he hit if he gets all his own way? He doesn't have to share his toys with anyone or anything. He gets all his own way. Am I right? And you're a pleaser parent. The reward chart and the emotions book prove that. Get rid of that. Doesn't work. Doesn't work.
Just from some of your comment section, whenever you've talked about tantrums, I had nothing from knowledge from this podcast. I'm just asking the questions. So it is, you often get asked, how is ignoring tantrums telling them that they can tell you stuff as a teenager? Like, isn't that telling them that they should just bottle everything up?
Not at all, because when they're finished the tantrum, if they want to talk about it, we can talk about it. I don't do scenes. I don't do yelling or anything like that. I pull away from that. And the reason why kids tell you everything right through the teen years is because you are a safe place to land. They can tell you anything. When they're angry and having a tantrum, I do not engage with that. My kids learned from a very young age, if you talk to me respectfully, we can talk about anything. Now, when I made mistakes, which I did, it was usually I'd say, I hate cooking. It was usually I'd say, I promise tonight I'll make something. Sure enough, I'd forget. And then I'd be in trouble. They would never get mad if I messed up and I did something wrong and they didn't get the cupcakes I'd promised. By the way, my cupcakes were all healthy. They weren't that good anyway. But my kids thought they were. They didn't know any different when they were little. So then they wouldn't get mad at me. They would actually look at each other and smile because they knew I was going to make amends. They always came to me like this, Mom, you didn't make those cupcakes you promised. I don't see no cupcakes. And I'd say, what do you want? And they'd say, well, we want to go to the water slide park after school. So you see, I always was I was an open door so long as they talked to me nicely. If they had a fit and they were screaming, no way. That door was slammed shut. I'm not talking to you. They learn that from a very young age. And even older kids, they learn that. Soon as they're done, though, when they're finished with the tantrum, so you ignore the crazy, which is the tantrum. It's a loss of emotional control and not getting their own way. It's not really even about feelings. It's, well, anger, but it's not about like real emotions. It's more just anger at hearing the word no. So you just completely ignore that, okay? But also they will learn how to process their own anger. They will learn, wait a minute, this is not how I address this. This is not working because I'm getting no attention whatsoever. But as soon as they stop having the tantrum, then I go in for the attention. And I say, oh, you all done? Do you want to go to the park? So you've just shown them right in the moment. As soon as they stop the tantrum, I connect. And they put it together. They just start to get it. But you got to be consistent. If you're not consistent, it does not work.
And you also made the point earlier that you need to be connected.
Yeah, you have to be. Yeah, you can't, if you're just ignoring tantrums and ignoring them the rest of the time, nothing's going to work. They're going to be miserable.
And I think that's like in those short videos that you do, it's like, I think if you're just talking about ignoring the tantrums, people may not, like that may be the first video they're ever hearing of yours. So if that's all they hear is ignoring your child, they might think that you're stretching that to everything.
The thing is that people don't ask me, oh, how do you connect with your kids? That's what I'm teaching here. I teach leadership. Leadership is all about connecting. You get that pesky discipline out of the way. You set yourself up as a leader, and a leader brings out the best in them. A leader makes them feel good about themselves. That's what you do. It's like a mentor. Have you ever had a mentor in life? A teacher, a coach, a grandparent that you look up to? They make you feel like $1 million about yourself, and you want to please them. It's a natural thing. How do you treat that mentor? That's what I teach. When you're a leader, your kids would be embarrassed to be rude to you because you're a mentor. You never yell. You're calm. They can tell you anything. But if they acted crazy because you said no, I'd just go, whew, whatever. Like there's no way I would address that. No freaking way.
Okay, get into the next question.
Sure.
So Kiara from the United States. I have a 4-year-old daughter who's turning 5 next month. I'm planning her birthday party now. This will be our first party at a public place with family and friends. I've been giving her consequences for bad behavior, ignoring tantrums, and spending more time in playing connecting with her. It's helping, but we're only 1 week in and she's still adjusting. Any tips on managing bad behavior during a birthday party? If she has a tantrum or behavioral issue, should I be more lenient because it's her birthday or stick to the normal consequence I do at home?
Okay, so you're going to take her out around a whole bunch of wild kids. She's getting a bunch of presents and she's going to be hopped up on sugar. Yeah, I'd say just let everything go at the party. But when you get home, and always ignore tantrums, but I might take her out to the parking lot if she's having one and let her have it out in the parking lot while I'm filing my nails. And then when she's done, oh, y'all done? Let's go back to the party. Don't say, do you want to go back to the party? Watch your voice with that situation because you want her back at that party. So you say it like this. Oh, y'all done? Okay, let's go back to the party. You see how I've said it like it's happening. Lead her right into it. She might start having a tantrum again. Let her go. Not much you can do. You're only 1 week in. It takes 3 to 6 weeks to see results. So, any lasting results. I mean, sometimes it'll be the first week is the honeymoon week. Everything goes perfectly. And then the next week is a hell week. And you're like, what on earth is going on here? It's like, oh, they go, oh, I see. This is going to hang around, is it? I actually have some rules that I have to follow. There's going to be consequences. So yeah, it can go either way. You're only 1 week in. You're going to take her somewhere very stimulating, very exciting. She's the center of attention. She's going to want everything to go her own way. And chances are she'll have a tantrum. Just take her out in the parking lot. And when you get home, though, if she has lashed out and hit anyone, including you or anybody, when you get home, say, okay, you hit, and you can have no hitting on a behavior board, right? So you say, okay, you hit, let's go to the board, and this is the consequence. Don't discuss anything around the hit. This is what parents do all the time. It's a total waste of time. It makes you look weak. Well, when you were talking and he hit, oh God, they don't need to hear all that therapy session garbage. Just say, when you were at the party, you hit so-and-so, here's your consequence. Bang, done. That's all you need to say. Short but sweet. When you're playing with kids, that's their love language. Play as much as possible. Yabber on, talk a lot, chase them with underpants on your head, be silly, goofy. But when you're disciplining, short but sweet, and talk slow. Slowly. It calms things down. It just does.
So instead of like a 1.05 speed, maybe like a 0.8 speed?
Trying to be funny?
I was. It landed really flat.
Yes, sweetheart, that was so funny.
That's okay.
Oh, I'm going to hear about that one later.
Oh, no, it's fine.
I was just teasing. Okay.
Yeah, I used to do those gymnastics parties, and I remember we used to do the cake in the last like 15 minutes because
Sugar.
then I just send them home.
But imagine if you're the center of attention. God, I used to hate those things. We had a lot at our house, but more when I don't know. We did a lot at our house. Oh, once we put a pool in, they were all at our house in the pool. But before that, I remember the McDonald's ones and the noise. I wasn't smart enough to put earplugs in my ears. Like, oh my God, the noise level was everything echoes in there. And oh, geez.
You got to treat it like a concert. You
It
go
was
in.
brutal. Well, a concert without the fun. Oh, it was brutal. Yeah, I did it all, but I was not my ideal thing to do for sure. Couldn't stand it, actually.
Okay, we have Stephanie from South Africa. When your 17-month-old is having a tantrum and you're waiting for it to pass, can the child have their comfort object?
Oh, yeah. You don't hand it to them, though. You can have it, like, let's say they're still in a crib. I might take it outside of the crib and put it on the floor. They can go and get it and comfort themselves. You don't control what they do, okay, during a tantrum, unless they're hurting themselves or something or hitting. Then you physically restrain them. But yeah, let them have it for sure, but don't you comfort them. You never want to feed it. Any attention is tantrum food. You're literally fertilizing a tantrum. You're literally telling them that you feel bad about the fact that you had to say no. No, you don't. No. Or you might, but you shouldn't. Or don't show it anyway.
Okay, Josie from New Zealand. You said in one of your podcasts that children don't tantrum alone, but my 3-year-old does. Specifically, if something he's trying to do with his toys, usually building a complex tower, doesn't work and he's by himself, he screams and throws things. I've tried ignoring it from another room, but that causes it to escalate. And I've tried going into the room and ignoring from in the room, but then again, it escalates. With any other tantrum that has started because I've said no, ignoring it worked a treat. But with these ones that are directed at toys, I'm a bit stumped.
Yeah, that's a little bit different. Yeah, that one is more out of frustration. It can also lead to sore losership. They don't like it when things go their way. Okay, how old was he? 4? Did you say 4?
2. Or sorry, not.
He was older than that.
3.
He was 3. Okay, he's 3 years old. Yeah, if he's getting mad and throwing stuff, I would say that's it, no throwing, and I would pick up that item and put it away. Also, play games with him. To teach him how it's okay that things don't go his way. So play games with him and focus on the playing, not the winning or losing. If he wins or loses, don't make a big deal out of it. Oh, okay, you won, that was great. But remember we played, that was fun when you did that move or this and that. So talk about the gaming itself, not the outcome. So that will teach him that it's okay to make a mistake. There's nothing wrong with not winning at everything, not everything going his own way. Plus, he's still really young. He hasn't had a lot of experience with things not going perfectly for him yet. Some kids will do that. They can't get that block right in the hole that it's supposed to go. The square won't go into the circle hole, and they'll throw it across the room. It's basically something they will learn eventually, that not everything's going to go their way. Plus, they get better at stuff as they get older, too. He's still really little, and he's probably might have seen older kids or you do it well, and then he gets really frustrated when he can't do it well because he's seen how it's done. Not that you shouldn't do it well. I'm not saying pretend you can't do it. But yeah, play games with him so that he learns that it's okay to fail at something. Nothing wrong with that. You're supposed to just be having fun here.
Yeah.
But yeah, just, that's okay. He has a tantrum. That's okay. Let him have it. But put the item away if he throws it. Say, oh, this isn't very fun, is it? Let's just put this away for the rest of the day. I might do that. And then suggest you play a game with him.
I'm guessing so. The idea is that when they're older, they don't throw the baseball bat if they strike out.
Or flip the whole Monopoly board if they're losing. By the way, I hate Monopoly because you know who's going to win in the first round. It's always that way. Yeah, there's never any like, ooh, I wonder who's going to win. It's always the one with the big bankroll, and they're counting their money. It's nauseating.
We played a lot of Pictionary growing up.
We did. I love that. It's just goofy stuff. I love goofy games, just where it's all fun. There was another one called Scribblehead that we really liked. You have this little whiteboard that you will ask. It has a headband. You have a whiteboard on your forehead. It's just a tiny little one, and you have to draw on your forehead on this little whiteboard. And that's like, it's like Pictionary, but you're drawing on your forehead on this little whiteboard. Kids love stuff. It's just fun and goofy. No one's great at it. That's what's so good. No one's great at it. It's just supposed to be fun and goofy.
Actually, my brother's fantastic at it.
He's a very good drawer. He can do, like, we'll draw tons and tons of stuff, and then we'll keep pointing to the exact same thing and never draw another line. My son he takes forever to draw that first line. He draws one, maybe two lines, and we all know exactly what it is.
Whoa. Let's stop using this ominous we of the pointing. You are a pointer in Pictionary.
It's me. I'll draw I can't even draw a horsey or a horsey. I can't draw anything. And then I just keep pointing at it, and I'm mad at everybody else. Then I end up saying, you know what this is. And then everyone laughs at me and we have fun.
Yeah, great times. Doesn't matter who wins. Okay, next question.
You're just getting back at me because of that 0.8 speed thing.
Felt really good.
I know.
Okay, Stacy from the United States. My 2-year-old is very loving and sweet, but we are having trouble getting her to listen. I am home with her 5 days a week and play with her all day. In the morning when she wakes up, she wants to hop her toys into the basket, and when it's time to eat, she lines up all of her toys on the table first. The problem is she procrastinates and has them go in the wrong way or quickly picks them up after putting them down to do the routine all over again. We'd be fine if she did it quickly and the first time we ask. The only thing that works now is threatening that we will do it for her if she doesn't do it. Do I grab them out of her hand without warning if she doesn't do it correctly the first time and cause a tantrum?
I'd teach her all about the timer. You know those timers that have the picture on it? I've got one here, but you might not be seeing it. But anyway, so I'd say, okay, so in 5 minutes, we're going to go eat. And then you say, you might want to line that stuff up. And if she hasn't got it lined up, when that alarm goes, pick her up, kicking and screaming, and sit her in the table. She's controlling when she sits down. I wouldn't let a child control when they sit down to have dinner or whatever. You're allowing her to control you. And that's what she's doing. So yeah, I wouldn't allow them. That's a need. They need to sit and eat. So when I've decided we're eating at 5, I wouldn't let her control us so that we're not eating till 5:30. You see, you're giving her control where she shouldn't have it. So get her to understand the timer. Once that alarm goes, we're going to pick you up kicking and screaming. You got to be willing to go through the storms, though. Everyone wants the rainbow. Well, she's going to kick and scream. That's right. That's called the storm. And the rainbow's at the end of those storms. It might take 10 times. But eventually you need to win these battles. If you're not willing to go through the storms to get to the rainbow, you're never going to get the rainbow. The more you give in to her now, the harder you're making it for yourself tomorrow. A lot of parents go for short-term gain for long-term pain. I do the other, short-term pain for long-term gain. I actually said it right that time. Wow, first time for everything.
Okay, we have one final question. So it's Zell from the United States. Hello, for my 2.5-year-old daughter. How do I handle her wetting herself in the middle of a tantrum? Do I stop ignoring and address the accident, or do I continue to ignore the whole tantrum?
No, you clean her up. It's like if they get physical and hitting, you physically restrain them. But you still don't look at her or talk to her. Just get her cleaned up while she's having a tantrum. Just clean her up. Don't talk to her. And then when she's dry, then just continue to ignore her. So you do what you need to do during a tantrum. It's like if they're having a tantrum in the middle of the street, you're still going to pick them up and move them to the sidewalk. It's like that. You meet their needs during a tantrum. So if they wet themselves, clean them up. But still don't look at them. Still ignore them. But you're physically going through the motions of getting her cleaned up, of doing what you need to do with her.
Okay, that was everything as far as the questions.
Good. Okay, managed to talk about a few things in there. Tantrums, and I know you're absolutely right, because people ask me a lot about discipline on social media, whereas in coaching, it's all about connecting and bonding. And we do, obviously, we have to deal with discipline too, but that's a very tiny part of what I'm all about. You need to play hard with your kids in their world to connect with them, because that is what makes all the discipline work, because they want to play, they want to have a fun parent, they want to have fun, they want to have a great relationship with you. But I'll tell you, when you're disciplining, that's when you're all business. You're not stern, you're not angry. You're just, okay, so you broke the rule. Here's your consequence. Follow through. And then when that's all done, say, okay, do you want to go read a book? Or you just go right back to normal again. Don't treat their bad behavior as their identity. Just treat it as something they did. You're going to hand out a consequence. Now you're right back to dealing with the good kid. That's the pool story. That's you deal with bad behavior, but then you focus on the good kid and don't discuss bad behavior. I think that's mean.
I don't know if you clarified this, but when you say ignore the tantrum, you're not leaving the room, correct?
No, you're right there. They need to see you. You want them to know you know they're having the tantrum and you're waiting for it to finish. You could be doing the dishes or something like that, but move slow. Don't look at them. And don't go on your phone and don't get into a conversation. I think that's rude. They're still going through something. I think it's rude. You're going through it with them, but they need to know that you're waiting for the tantrum to finish. Because as soon as it does, oh, y'all done? Okay, do you want to go to the park? Or whatever. You're training them out of them. That's what you're doing. But yeah, you want to be there. You don't walk away from a tantrum. And don't do timeout. God, I hate timeout. It's mean. But yeah, you're just standing there filing your nails. I know I've had lots of clients who said their nails are down to the nub and they've already bought out all the nail files on Amazon because their kid has so many tantrums. But yeah, you need to look like you're just sort of looking at the sky, looking at the birds. Don't talk. Don't talk to them or talk at all. Just quiet, looking outside. You're just waiting. As soon as they're done, though, oh, y'all done? You want to go to the park? If they start up again, ignore again.
What if both parents are in the room?
Don't talk to each other. Do not talk. Do not get into a conversation. I think it's rude.
Would you suggest one leaves the room?
Maybe. You can both be standing there doing chores, but you got to both follow through. There's usually one parent who's more likely to give in. Yeah. There's usually, you can have two leaders with parents, but there's always going to be one that's stronger. By the way, the leader is really the prized role. That's the one that they'll tell everything to right through the teen years. You're that one that sort of knows how to take care of business. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're the one that sort of knows how to handle stuff. You're the one they're going to go to with their problems. I remember my dad I was very attached to my father. He died when I was young, unfortunately, but I was very attached to my dad. He did spoil me. He was the pleaser. My mom wasn't. She was more the leader. She should have been tougher on me. I got away with too much. But anyway, she still was the leader. And what was interesting is I was very attached to my father. He played with me all the time, and my mom didn't so much. She was more she did the baking, cooking, all that kind of stuff. But when I was sick or when I had a problem, I wanted my mom. She was the leader. If I was sick, I didn't want my dad because he would get all upset, and that my mom would just say, okay, what we're going to do now is you're all right. You're all right. That's what the leader is like. It's the one that sort of is the safe place to land. As much as I adored my father, when there was trouble, I wanted my mom. It's like she's the one who knew what to do. And you're the one, the leader is the one that the kids tend to go to the most because they need a leader. I loved both my parents the same. But when push came to shove, I needed my mom. Does that make sense? So the leader is the prized role. Don't see it as the mean one. It's actually not at all. It's the one that you want to be. Often when I'm coaching people, they'll fight over who has to be the leader. And then by the last session, they're fighting over who gets to be the leader. So, they get it. The leader is usually the fun, goofy one, or often the fun, goofy one too. Not always, but often. You're the one who's really good at playing with them on their level. You know how to connect. Okay, I think that's it. I'm going to wrap it up now. Okay, thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back again when we're back again. Happy parenting. Bye now.
Thanks for tuning in. If you're ready to dive deeper, check out bratbusters.com to learn more about the behavior board, parenting courses, and private one-on-one coaching with Lisa. If you've enjoyed the show so far, we'd love it if you could take a moment to follow, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps us reach more parents just like you. The information provided in this podcast is for general informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional advice. Lisa is a parenting coach, mom, and grandmother. She is not a licensed psychologist or counselor. Her services do not replace the care of psychologists or other healthcare professionals. For a full disclaimer, please visit bratbusters.com/disclaimer.